Hey guys, my name is JAde and welcome to Dallas Jamming. In this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about why I release so much music, and you should too. So during the past 4 years, I've released 12 to 13 albums, and that's a lot, that's a lot of music. That's like 4 albums a year, give or take. But out of all those albums, the one that I spend the most time on was back in 2018, and it was called Aphids. I spent like almost a year on it, just tweaking it, fixing things, removing things from tracks and stuff like that. And out of all those albums, I still think like that's one of my best albums. But I still release a bunch of music. Even though I myself know I can do better, I still release that music. So you might be thinking, Jade, why put out work that is not like your greatest, you know? It kind of reminds me of this UFC clip. If you're into MMA, you might have seen this.
Everybody knows what I'm capable of. That was 30% right there, and I still dominated.
And I can see like why people might think the same thing. Like, hey, so why aren't you putting out your best work? If this isn't your best work, why even put it out? And the reason for that is that you have to let the faucet run. You have to think of composers like Mozart, Beethoven. They released hundreds of songs. And after song and song and song, you eventually get to that one beautiful song. And that's kind of like the way that I like to look at my music making. Also, I think it's great to have like a giant catalog of your music because I've lost so much music. Like I've made so many songs where like I've sang and like songs that are really important to me that I've completely lost any record of. And I feel like having them out in the world is like, okay, here's my discography. Here's all the music I've made. And not only is that good for like other people to see like how you've grown, like how much better your music is from like 2016 to like 2021, but for yourself, it makes it easy for you to appreciate like how much you've grown. Like I go back and listen to like my old songs and like, wow, that's completely out of beat, or those leads are way too loud, right? Like your ear develops over the years and you just get better and better at what you do, you know? 10,000 hours. The more you do something, the better you're gonna get at it. And being able to go back and be like, wow, I made this and I was going through this thing in this time and I made this music that reflects what I was feeling during that time. And then you go and listen to some other music that you made during another time and you see like how much your composition style changes. And I think that is so beautiful. I love listening to like my music for me. I know it's not like the greatest music in the world. I know I can do better. And like the reason that I haven't is because I just have not had the actual time. And I plan to. Like I plan to show you guys my full potential because I play guitar. I haven't even played guitar on this channel. Like how wild is that? I play guitar. I played cello in high school. I'm not the greatest, but you know, it's an instrument that I can pick up and play. I play piano. I sing a little bit. I rap a little bit. I know what I'm capable of doing. Most of the jams that you guys have seen are just that, jams. You guys see that I make the track like from beginning to end most of the time during the video. And a lot of those jams, actually most of those jams, 90% of those jams are what my albums are, like what my albums have been. So like I have like 12 albums full of jams that I later gave titles to, made album art for, and that's what keeps my listeners excited. Like what's new? What's the new music that's coming, you know? And maybe I shouldn't call them albums because I do feel like you should put your best work into an album. Like I know there's gonna be music that I spend months on, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't share this with the world or even keep a recollection of it for yourself. I feel like sometimes we're way too self-conscious about our music, and the funny thing is that most of the times that I'm like, oh, this track sucks, I'm not gonna, I guess I'll put it on, and then always, every single time somebody comes back, it's like, dude, I love that track, that was my favorite track, and in my head I'm like, ha, that's funny, I actually hated that track, it almost didn't even make it to the album. So it's good to know that we're our worst critics. Sometimes we spend months editing and tweaking, and like that's what happens when you make music in the DAW a lot. Like it all stays in the DAW, you know, dozens of projects that are never finished, that are missing drums or guitar, or that are missing something, and then you move on to something else. Most of the albums that I've released, I'd say about like 90% of the albums that I've released have been one-track recordings. I'm talking about like one stereo file, DAW-less recording, straight out of the mixer into the recorder. That's it. The only thing that I do in the DAW is like bring up my volume levels of that final track to make sure that it's acceptable for like Spotify and YouTube and all the fancy places. But what I do in the DAW is very minimal, and having like that permanency, like you can't mess up during that 10-minute performance or you have to start all over, really forces you to like focus on that performance. And I'm not saying that multi-tracking is bad, because like if I want to do something serious and want to lay down some vocals or want to lay down a separate guitar part, I am gonna do that multi-tracking. Take that extra time to make sure that that track is gonna be as amazing as I know it can be. But with these jams, it's like spur of the moment, okay, I have a jam, and then somebody's like, hey, where can I find this jam? I'm like, hey, well, I guess I should put it in an album, shouldn't I? If people are asking for it and it's not complete garbage, why not have it out for the world to see, have it in your permanent discography, eventually be able to come back and look at it and see how much you've grown as an artist and just create, you know, put it out there. You never know what people are gonna like. And as long as you're liking your music, that's all that matters. So next time you're like doubting yourself, like, should I share this? Should I not? What will people think? Don't worry about what people think. You know how much percentage of yourself you're putting into this. So if you put 100% of your life and like of your capability and your skills into making this track, why care what anybody thinks, you know? I myself know that I can do better in a lot of the stuff that I've been doing. And soon, I'm hoping that I can show you guys what I'm really capable of. Like, I'm hoping that eventually I'll have the right environment where I can sing. Like, I have my microphone right here that I haven't even used. Like, how sad is this? But it's all in its time, so I'm not stressing about it. Yes, I can do this now, but eventually, you guys are gonna be able to hear, like, my piano masterpieces and all the cool stuff that I know I can do. And, like, that's exciting for me to know that, like, you guys are gonna be able to hear more new things that you don't even know. Y'all don't even know. And like, does it make me cocky to call my music masterpieces? I don't think so. I don't think so, because if you believe in yourself and you know that something is good, you don't have to listen to anybody. Somebody can tell you it sucks. Like, there's the beautiful Marcus Aurelius quote, does an emerald lose its quality if it's not praised? No. So same thing with your music. If you know that something is beautiful, stop asking people if it's good, because you already know. And if it's not good, and if you don't have the confidence in thinking that it's good, get back to the studio, get back to practicing, get to the point where you're confident enough that your music is fire. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I just released a new album. It's a compilation of like tracks from 2016, 2017 that I made. Full stereo tracks, like just how I explained, just one track recordings. They're dullest, not flawless, but it's the last in the Aquamarine series of albums, which includes Acid Waves, Lone Manta, Penguin Aspirations, and the last one is Orca Vindicated, kind of like a water animal vibe set. It's electronic music, very boom boom, TR8, TT303, Octatrack, very dance type music. So if you're into that, check it out. Links in the description. Catch you guys later. Stay fly.